right, so we're going to work some more with some linear models. So in this example, David weighs 240 pounds and sets a weight loss goal of 2 pounds per week. Let X represent the number of weeks which go by, and find the linear model which represents how much David hopes to weigh after X weeks of the plan. Now that kind of gives you a huge clue. So when we're looking at A, B, C, and D here, A and B kind of go together, where A asks what is the dependent variable, Y, and what is the independent variable, X. Well, if you think about this, they have told you what X equals. So X equals the number of weeks. So it's measured in weeks. Well, think about then what we're trying to find. So as weeks go by, David is losing weight, and therefore the Y value is going to represent his total weight. Because weeks are going to go by, he's going to lose weight, and then the Y value is going to tell us how much he still weighs. Okay, so what is the starting point? Well, David is starting at 240 pounds. And what is the slope? Well, the slope is the rate of change. What is the change every week? Well, 2 pounds. He's losing 2 pounds, so our slope is going to be a -2 because the weight is going away, which makes it negative because this is a decrease. So slope of -2 because we are decreasing. Now that will let us to write the model. Okay, so we're going to use our slope and our y-intercept to write ourselves a model. Y equals slope times x, and my y-intercept in this case is positive because your weight is positive, right? It's a positive number. So how much does David hope to weigh after 4 weeks? Well, weeks is represented by x, so that means x is 4. So I go to my equation, y equals -2. So in for x, I plug that 4, because now we're finding, right, y is his total weight. So -2 times 4 is -8. -8 plus 240 is 232. So after 4 weeks, his weight is going to be 232 pounds. What about after 10 weeks? Well, if this is my equation, 10 weeks means that x has a value of 10. So y equals -2 times 10 plus 240. -2 times 10 is -20. Add his starting weight. So after 10 weeks, David will weigh 220 pounds. And what if David's weight loss goal is 180 pounds? How many weeks is it going to take him to get there? Okay, again, let's look at our initial equation. And now they're saying he wants to weigh 180 pounds. That's Y. Y is representative of the weight. Okay, so now we're going to subtract 240 from both sides. So that gives me a -60 equals -2x. We divide both sides by -2, because whatever's in front of x is what we divide by. And x equals 30. And remember, this represents weeks. So after 30 weeks, David will reach his weight loss goal of 180 pounds. So if we graph that, recall from the previous ones, we knew that when x was 4, that's an equal sign. When x was 4, our weight was 232. When x was 10, the weight was 220. When x was 30, the weight was 180. So if we graph that, 4, 232, this is going to be a little bit rough with this area. There's that, and here's 180. So if I draw this line, that's David's current weight loss plan. And we're going to come back to this graphic here in just a moment. Because David wants to say, you know what, I want to lose 3 pounds a week. Now remember, that's the slope. So y equals -3x plus 240. How would the model change? Well, there's the model. How does that change the graph? Well, if we have -3x plus 240, well, let's think about what would happen if x is 5. If we plug 5 in for x, that's -15 plus 240, that's 225 pounds. So at 5 weeks, he's at 225. At 10 weeks, well, that's 30 pounds lost, he'd be at 210. And let's look at 20, that's 60 pounds lost, he'd be at his goal of 180. So the graph would still start at 240, but it would decrease at a faster rate, which should make sense because he's losing weight faster. And then number 7, is it reasonable to assume David could stick to this weight loss indefinitely? And I hope you all see that that answer is no. You can't say I'm going to lose 3 pounds a week, even 2 pounds a week for the rest of my life, because at some point, you would be dead. You would have no weight left. So you have to say, you would plateau at some point, and that would just kind of even it all out. So 180, I would think, is a good weight for David, I would assume.